Hey, thanks for checking out the Illini Inquirer YouTube channel. If you can do us a favor, continue your support. Give us a follow here on YouTube. Hit the notifications button, hit the subscribe button. That really helps us out. We're hoping to give you more content on our video channel here, whether it's player interviews, reactions, our daily dish series where we're going to be more topical and talk about the Illini. So give us some support. We appreciate all of it. Give us a follow, hit the notifications bell as well, and subscribe to us here on Illini Inquirer YouTube. Welcome into the Daily Dish. Jeremy Werner, Joey Wagner. Joey, we're gearing up for a second official visit weekend. The first was very good for Illinois as they had 4 commits. They get Rico Jackson, offensive lineman, Jamarion Harkless, a defensive lineman, Cal Swanson, the quarterback, and an edge rusher in state out of St. Rita, Pat Farrell. Now they're looking to build some more momentum in this class with the second weekend of official visitors. What stands out most in your mind about this weekend and what could come from it?
How they staged it out. And this is kind of like a looking at both. This is a defensive back heavy weekend. This is an Aaron Henry and a Ryan Walters star of the show type of weekend here. And it's a chance for them to go in there and just shut down the defensive backfield recruiting. You can almost probably, if this weekend goes well, you could put a pretty good bow on the defensive backfield. And again, we saw someone like a Matthew Bailey who had a good senior season that ended up parlay, where you can get a lot of the core and feel good about where you are and maybe feel like you're just adding like cherries on top as you get into the fall and into the high school season. But that's what it is to me, Jeremy, is lock down the defensive backfield, get some reinforcements, because there's going to be turnover there. You're going to lose Sidney Brown. You're going to lose Quan Martin. You're going to lose Kendall Smith. You have some redshirt freshmen who could be ready, not in the 2023 season. You recruited that pretty well last year, but you got to keep stacking. You cannot have enough defensive backs because look at the game, man. It's a passing game. So that stands out. And there's obviously other targets in Mason Mergen, defensive linemen. But this feels very important for Ryan Walters and Aaron Henry.
Yeah, Joey, I don't think this is the headline grabbing weekend, right? Like I think the first weekend was that, and it still could be that. You still have huge targets that Illinois is trying to close on, whether that's Malik Elzy, Jair Hill, Deacon Tanielli. Those are 4-star guys. So as we look back on this class, that weekend of June 3rd to 5th is going to have the biggest impact, right? You had 3 commits on board already that visited that weekend. You had 4 who jumped on board later, and I still think you're going to land at least one of those in-state guys, and you hope to land more than that. So I think that weekend is going to be the huge turning point. But this is another weekend where you can address needs. And you mentioned it, defensive back. I think Jaheim Clark is the one to watch here. 3-star kid out of Florida. Reminds me of Kirby Joseph in that he's a long, skinny, but really athletic kid who's got great ball skills. It's an Illinois-Iowa State battle right now, and he's long had this official visit kind of set up. And some DBs have kind of come off the board here that were supposed to visit this weekend. The Duclona brothers, both coming off the board. So I think Clark is certainly one who seems like a prime target. And you mentioned Mason Mergen, a defensive lineman out of Michigan. Illinois' only Power 5 offer, but he's visiting a lot of other schools, Michigan, Purdue, Cincinnati to camp. So I think there's some urgency for Illinois to potentially try and close this one down, add to Harkless, get that defensive line class kind of shored up before a final official visit weekend where you could potentially add more DBs and defensive linemen. And then you shoot your shot for an offensive lineman in state and Chris Tarek, who has Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. And you hope maybe you can get a wide receiver on board as well, Fama Toure out of New Jersey. So for me, this is about continuing to build depth, build a class more so than maybe the headliner guys, Joey.
Yeah, you're starting to see that they're pretty intentional when setting up the month of June and how this works. And we've known about this, Jim. We've known that even last year there was kind of I think what they call it, like the Chicago guys, where it was a Jared Beatty and Jordan Anderson, Malachi Hood, Ian Pugh. You saw that, like that was intentional to try to bind those ties together with them. And you're seeing some more intentional this year, is getting the Florida feel in this second recruiting weekend. And you saw Midwest feel in the first one. This isn't just, oh, are you available now? Okay, this works. Like this has been pretty strategically planned. And yes, you've had to make sure the availability worked, but this is, you're learning a lot about them now, year two, seeing how they go about these official visits. And you're learning that we've heard them talk about the details, but you're seeing it, and you're seeing that kind of turn into action a little bit.
I think Illinois adds to the class this weekend. That's the most important thing at the end of it. But I think Illinois adds to the class, and we'll cover the heck out of it at IlliniInquirer.com.